Talk Radio.
And welcome back. It is Frankie Boyer. So I'll tell you, some women going through the change of life will be so happy when it snows again because they get to go outside or open the window or get the ice. But for the rest of us, the question is, and we're having some fun with this today, but the question is, are the hot flashes wreaking havoc on your sex life? And there's a new study that just came out that is saying yes. So you're not alone if you're feeling overwhelmed by your menopausal symptoms, but men are starting to be affected by it as well, and in a big way. And to help us understand this is Dr. Rebecca Brightman, who is an attending physician and clinical instructor at Mount Sinai, and she works with multiple women issues and publications and all kinds of. She's always on television, and we're so thrilled that she's with us today. Dr. Brightman, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having me.
So the deal is this. It's a reality. Women go through menopause. Men go through andropause. But we go through, and I know some men that do sweat profusely and have hot flashes as well. So it's not just women, but mostly women.
Well, I think it's mostly women. We all hear about women in the media, in comedy, and everything else. And we also hear so much about women and how hot flashes and menopausal symptoms affect their lives. And I think what's interesting about this study is they're actually looking at, do these symptoms that affect women actually impact their male partners or their partners in general? And yes, in fact, these symptoms can. So that was what was interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. So I had a friend who's no longer married to this man, but she was. And they lived in Vegas, and it was, even with the air conditioning, she couldn't take it. They got a ceiling fan. That didn't help. So she got these little individual fans that she put on she clipped them on to her headboard and to where the bottom of the bed was on the footboard, and she had these little individual fans and then a sideboard fan. She was just, and he couldn't take all the fans. He just couldn't take it.
It might have been easier, less intrusive to sleep with some ice packs.
Probably.
She should have talked to her doctor about things to do.
Yeah, this was so interesting. I mean, the marriage was on its way out to begin with because he was way too old for her when she married him, and this is where the differences really were apparent. You know, he had no tolerance for her change at all. His little trophy wife was getting older, and he didn't like it at all, you know. There were some extra issues. But when I went to visit the house and I saw the bedroom, I just had to laugh because it was so funny to see the setup with all the fans.
That is very, very funny. So many women need to make all sorts of lifestyle modifications when they're having night sweats and hot flashes, and it's really disruptive. And especially if you're sharing the bed with someone and you're drenched and you're throwing the sheets off or taking your pajamas off or opening the window or tossing and turning for that matter, it really can impact a woman's emotional state and everything else, but also wreak havoc on her partner because as a result, their sleep is disrupted also. So it affects the entire mood and tone of a relationship in certain circumstances.
So the psychological issues, not just the physical, women really and truly have been told as they get older that they are all done. It's like, you're done. You can no longer have children, and this is it. You're finished with life. And we were just talking with a woman, Bobby was talking about how we're growing more vital as we get older. So it still hasn't really changed that much in the mentality of women, for women around the country, this country anyway.
Meaning the mentality in terms of maintaining vitality.
Yes.
Has continued.
The attitude that when women go through the change. Because years ago, it was men that said we would be all dried up and that would be the end of us.
but that's not true anymore. And
that's right. That's what I'm saying. The mentality, but some mentality is still there. That old thinking is still there.
But I think less and less so, and I think women, as they get into their 50s or when they transition through menopause, which can be, the average age in this country is 51, there's so much they can do to maintain their level of fitness, and I think women are, hopefully tuned into the fact that it's important to work out for many, because of the so many benefits. But, I think if a woman takes care of herself, she feels so much better about herself, and it makes her feel more beautiful and sexy and more vital. And I think she brings this into a relationship if she's doing these things, and the relationship can only benefit.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think it's the beginning of the end at all. I think for many women, just because they can no longer get pregnant, for many women it's liberating. They no longer have to deal with bleeding, and sometimes it's unpredictable as they approach menopause. They don't have to deal with the ups and downs once they've transitioned to the other side, and they don't have to worry about potentially getting pregnant, having an unplanned pregnancy.
Yes.
So for many women, it's a new chapter.
And there are also these wonderful sheets. There are hemp sheets out there, and the organic cotton sheets which absorb the moisture.
Exactly.
And there are beautiful nightgowns that you can wear, or no nightgown whatsoever, which can help as well.
There are all sorts of things that are out there to help women, lifestyle choices. There are cooling patches, cooling packs. I've even seen pearls that are put in the freezer, and a woman can put them on if she's going to play tennis.
Yes.
And they're adorable.
They're so
and
funny,
I think,
yeah.
The most important thing is to, try to make some lifestyle changes to facilitate a more fitful sleep. And I think if you can't sort of unwind before you go to bed and minimize caffeine and wine and doing, possibly adding some yoga into your routine and trying to de-stress as best you can, I think if that's not helping, then it's time to look to your healthcare provider for some other, suggestions, and whether or not it's a prescription or non-prescription, but there may be some great choices out there, and there are great choices for women.
I wanted to have this conversation, especially on this day before Valentine's Day, because I think it's important for women to know that they are just as vibrant and fabulous in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, Doctor. So thank you so much for shedding light on that and talking about this recent study. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being
Happy
with us.
Valentine's Day.
And thank you all for being with us. We hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening, everybody, and make it a great day. And smile. This is Frankie Boyer for Biz Talk Radio.
Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring?
Biz Talk Radio. The opinions you hear on Biz Talk Radio are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of this station, Biz Talk Radio, its management, or advertisers. The information on Biz Talk Radio does not constitute a recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or service. If you have any questions about Biz Talk Radio, contact us at 817-274-1609 or at biztalkradio.com. Biz Talk Radio.